on behalf of the Institute for Leadership and Strategic Foresight. Welcome to So You Want to Be the Chief, a podcast for leaders.
What a great day it is today. First, I'm alive, and that's a big deal for me anyway. But I have a person I just met. She's a retired Chief Master Sergeant, Rochelle Hemingway. Some people call her Slay, and we may find out why. But good to see you, Chief. Good to meet you. Welcome to the show. Congratulations on, gosh, how long did you serve our Air Force?
For 30 years.
30 years.
Yeah. So I'm so happy to be here with you today. And I'm so glad that we met on LinkedIn so we can collaborate.
Yeah, that's well, and that's really what it's all about, right? I
It
call it
is.
air power, HEIR power, but you help others, others help you, you connect with each other, you realize that you've got more similarities than issues. Although we create issues
Absolutely.
just because, and especially
Yeah.
chiefs, we like to argue. I just change my mind a lot of times because, why not? You know,
Oh, this is facts. This is really true.
yeah. So, what did you do in our Air Force, Chief?
Well, I started out as a medical technician.
Oh,
I did that for about 10 years. And then for 10 more years after that, I was an independent duty medical technician. And I deployed to all types of remote locations and providing medical care. And I've spent a few years as a first sergeant. I spent a couple of years on the inspector general's team. And in my last position, I served as the command chief at Ellsworth Air Force Base in South Dakota.
oh, okay. Wow. Evidently, you just could not keep a job.
I just couldn't keep one. I just had to experience all of what they were offering. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll do that.
Yes. Well, and that's the fun of it, I think. I did a lot of different things, and I never said no because I thought, why not? I might learn something. And I did.
Absolutely.
I did
Yeah.
stuff that I never thought that I would learn. But now,
Yeah.
an independent. Say that again. You were an independent.
Independent duty medical technician.
Okay, what does that mean? Is that like a doctor or?
It is an enlisted doctor. So,
Okay.
because at the time they didn't have as many doctors to send out to locations, they were training enlisted medical technicians to that advanced medical care. So I could do everything that a doctor could do except for intubate, which means, putting a tube to allow breathing and access to airways, which is a very complicated type procedure.
Yeah.
So I could do everything up to that. So anywhere from airbagging uh, service members who were injured during the field, treating for minor colds, sprains, bruises, those types of things.
Yeah.
So it was so enlightening. It was so enlightening for me. It gave me a different level of experience that I was not even thinking existed. We were at the time a very elite group. There was at probably 74. I think that was the number at the time that I served. There were 74 independent duty medical technicians in the Air Force.
Yeah.
So you go to train for 3 months down in San Antonio, and the washout or the failure rate is extremely high because it's at a fast pace. You're engaged with doctors and physicians, and they want to make sure that you are providing medical care that was safe.
Yeah.
And so
Well,
they
that'd
took it
be a high
very
risk, right? I
seriously.
mean, there's a
Oh,
risk if
yes,
you did it
very
wrong,
high
correct?
risk,
Yeah.
very high risk. And I understood the gravity of that when I went to school because we were like doing, we were doing medical treatments that I only saw the doctors perform. And I'm like, we're doing this too?
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Wow,
Yeah.
that's very interesting. I had never heard of that. And do
Yeah.
we still have those that the
We
AFSC or
do.
do? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we do. And sometimes they're referred as combat medics. They're
Ah,
similar to the Navy Corpsmen. So they have been um training their uh uh enlisted personnel to be Navy corpsmen from like day one. And
Yeah.
so for us in Air Force, it was okay, let's see how you perform as a medical technician before we send you to school. And if we
Yeah.
think that you are performing at a very high level, we'll send you to independent duty medical technician
Yeah.
school.
Wow. You know, it's funny because I have a granddaughter who just graduated from high school who is looking to go into the Air Force as a medic. Now she wants to be a
Oh,
radiologist. So I said, great,
yes,
because there's a lot of money to be made once you get out or retire, whatever.
absolutely.
But my other one, who is coming up on a junior in high school, and she knows more than I do now, evidently, right? Like I just said, I love learning. She wants to be a combat medic. And I had never, I've heard of that, but that was more of a generic type term, not a specific type term, like you just said, the
Yeah,
independent thing. So
yeah.
I'll have to do some more research on that because although she's afraid of blood. So
Oh, well, you might need to, practice a little bit
yeah,
and
something
get
like
used to
that.
the sight of that because you'll
I
see lots of it.
I bet. I bet.
Yeah.
So where are you from? Uh,
I'm originally from Kokomo, Indiana.
Indiana. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Kokomo. Now I'm trying to remember. There's a song that's got Kokomo in it with the Beach Boys. I
yeah,
can't think.
yeah.
Uh,
But that's not it.
no,
Okay,
is
so
that
I know a lot of
okay?
I know a lot of people have asked me, they're like, when I say that, they're like, the beach? I'm like, oh no, it is
No,
far from the beach.
it's
It's
yeah,
very Midwestern, cows, cornfields.
yeah.
But ironically enough, my dad served in the Air Force for 23 years and he retired at Grissom Air Force Base in Indiana. And Kokomo is about 18 miles from
Okay.
Grissom Air Force Base. And so my mom is from Garrett, Indiana, very small town, mostly known for trains. So she grew up in that area. So she had followed, my dad around. And
Yeah.
and so when we got to Indiana, she asked, hey, well, why don't we just stay? Can we stay here? And so they did.
Mm,
So I was there for about 5 years
okay.
before I went into the military.
Yeah. And you came right out of
Yeah.
high school into the
I
military?
went a year of college. I
Okay.
went and I was not doing well.
Oh,
I'll just say that.
too much partying.
Well, it's not
Hmm.
even partying. It was just, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so
Ah,
I was just taking advice from other people. Oh, you should, go in. And I was uh, going to college to be an occupational therapist. And then when I went to the intern to find out if that's something that I would like to do, I was like, oh no, this is not it.
yeah.
This is not it. So I got to
Yeah.
figure out what else I should do. And so
Right.
because, I knew my dad was in the military, um, it was an option. So I
Right.
just chose to enlist
Yeah.
like a year after college.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and the rest is almost history.
It's almost history.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So,
they say
and now how long have you been retired from the Air Force?
since 2021.
Okay, just a
So
few
yeah,
years.
like
Okay.
for almost 5 years now.
Yeah. And what have you
Yeah.
been? Have you been doing something specific
Oh
since then,
yeah.
or are you
Oh
still
yeah.
searching for yourself?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both, but I actually launched a business. I speak a lot and write books and now take care of clients. It's in personal branding. It's been one of the things that I discovered while I was in service that worked really well for me to find special opportunities or get promoted. So I said, well, it worked while I was in the Air Force. What
Yeah.
will it work like? What will it do when I retire? So
Yeah.
I just, took what I learned and just applied it. And I have had
Very
so
good.
many opportunities to serve. And I think that was one of the things that I really wanted to maintain was service,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
in
That,
a different way, but in a way where I could have some flexibility as well.
right.
We have a 16-year-old son who's in basketball and his dream is to be, basketball player,
Michael
college
Jordan.
and whatnot.
Everybody wants to be.
Yeah, everybody wants to be Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
so he he's very talented. And so we wanted to maintain that, but I have to, take him here, there, everywhere.
Right.
Um, and so the business just is in alignment with the lifestyle that I have now.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and no matter what, Chief, we all got to live
Yeah.
that way,
Oh,
particularly
yeah.
when you have kids, because
Oh, yeah.
our kids, I think, my personal opinion, should be our number one priority. And you
Absolutely.
got to do what they need to do to get here, there, and all that kind of stuff. You will be rewarded eventually.
Yeah.
After having and he's 16, you say? So
He's 16.
yeah, you got a couple more years, and then you will be guaranteed that you will go to heaven. I That's just the way it is. Okay.
Oh,
But
yes. That is
yeah,
the goal.
yeah, that is the goal. Yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
tough. Well, one reason I wanted to have you on the show is because there are so many, and this is not a big number all of a sudden, but there are a lot of people retiring, particularly chiefs, and
Oh, yeah.
some of when I what I see on social media a lot of times is I don't know what to do. I'm kind of now. None of us chiefs is going to admit that we're scared, especially scared to death. I was there. I mean, until about 2 weeks. Well, in fact, I retired in Germany, and I had 2 weeks to get to the Air Force Academy to teach. So it's like, wow, we got to do this fast. But that's okay. Up until then,
Yeah.
I had no idea. Nothing was happening for me. So,
Mhm.
okay, I will admit just to you that I was a bit scared. What do I do? What am I going to do? And
Oh, yeah.
and so there are a lot of people like that. And I like that you, and then I've had some other guests on the show who say similar things. First, don't lose your identity. You are who you are. If you've done this right, you are who you are. And you probably are. I'm working on a book on identity because a lot of people, I don't think it's not that you discover your identity, you rediscover it. It's there. You just got to figure out, oh, wow. I didn't remember that. I went on and whatever, and I didn't remember that this is who I am. So I think number one is don't lose your identity. But number two, and every chief, retired chief that I've had on the show, when I asked them this, I'll say just what you said. It's about serving. I did it for 20 years, 30 years, whatever it was. And especially as a chief, I learned how to serve. And I didn't want to quit doing that, but that's what I was afraid of, that I wouldn't be serving anymore. But there's always places to serve. At least in my experience, I keep getting calls. You mentioned that you speak a lot. Well, in my when the people say refer to me, they say he talks a lot. It's a little bit
Mhm.
different, especially when my wife says that. Uh,
Yes.
and I get the hint for about 5 minutes, and then I come back. But
Yeah.
a chief is a chief, and you got to talk. But
That's right.
anyway, I'm glad that you're succeeding and still being a mom, still being and I don't know how you feel about the term. I'm called chief. I have always been called chief. And really, even my grandkids, when they gotta get my attention, hey, Dad, I hope I got they can use any term, and they say chief. Okay, what? That's me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but but anyway, again, congratulations on what you're doing. I'm so proud of you, and
Oh,
I
thank
I know you're
you.
going to continue to do great stuff. But we can serve in many many ways, Chief. And
Yeah.
and even here's what I found out. I think I've discovered in the last few years is doesn't have to be a big thing. By the time you make chief, command chief, that's a big thing. You have a huge responsibility, but opening the door for someone is serving. And we forget that. We started when we told our airmen that was humility, integrity, service, and excellence. We forget somewhere along the way and think we got to serve in this big capacity. I gotta work with Elon. Well, although he hasn't called me lately, but
Right.
if he does, hey, I'm there.
If he
But
calls you, have him call me.
okay. Well,
Just,
hey, I ain't going unless Rochelle goes with me.
I know.
But well, you may not want to go where I go. But anyway,
Right.
it's small stuff. I think, Chief. It's
Yeah.
small stuff that
Yeah.
we forget about those small things and the huge impact. I was just at the Air Force Academy. We had a new class yesterday come in yesterday, and there were a couple of folks who needed help. They were in wheelchairs or crutches or stuff,
Mm.
and there were some people just standing there waiting for them to open the door and struggling. and excuse me, and I went over and opened the door, and they walked in and said thank you. Those are little things that make us, regardless of whether you go by chief or not, they make us a good human. And those are the
Yeah.
things a chief does, and we teach our
Yeah.
youngsters, our followers.
Yeah. I agree. There has been a lot of talk about identity. And that's one of the things that I do talk about when I'm asked to speak. Um, and for me, it was thinking back to my days of service and what did I do well? Like whatever I was doing well in, could I expand that? Could I develop it? Could I express it in a different way? Because I knew from many others that have retired before me, they'll go like you're going to tell them that you're a chief and they won't get it, especially for those that have no military affiliation. And so you have to be able to share in a way where it's receptive and that they understand, so that when the next chief or whoever was in service, they'll be more open to hear what that experience was. Sometimes I've heard, like, thank you for your service. We hear that, and it's just a mute, it just stops after that. They don't want to know what you did in the military. They are not interested. And so I started to think about the way I wanted to brand myself. So I branded myself when I was in service with the word slay. So slay really came from pain. And I think a lot of our purposes come from that feeling that we had where we felt, man, I did everything that I thought I was supposed to do. It didn't work out. So I lost one of my airmen, and he was a medic as well. And we were very close. He was 20s, I'm in 40s, but we had that vibe, like really connected. And he would share with me some of his struggles and so forth. So a few days before my last deployment, he lost his battle with depression. And I went on that deployment. And, as a chief, we're the ones who are organizing the memorial services. We are, calling the family members. We're doing a lot. We're in service with the first sergeant. So we were doing a lot of that. And I wasn't able to do that because I was tasked to deploy. So I went on that deployment. And one of the things that he used to tell me all the time was, Chief, you're slaying it. You're slaying it. You're slaying all the things. Like when you come around, people stand to attention. They are paying attention. They want to know what you have to say and they're following your direction. So I started to think about the word slay, and I was like, well, first of all, I need to look up the meaning of slay, to see what exactly was he referring to me as. And it means to kill it, to dominate it, and to nail it, to be on point, to impress greatly, and to dream big and work hard until you own it. And I started to think about my service because it was like about my 25-year mark. And I was like, yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know? So I took the word and I started to use it on platforms. When I came back from the deployment, I said, hey, y'all, we're going to be slaying all the things. We're going to use this in remembrance of Airman Brooks. And everybody was so excited about it. But then I was like, it has to have meaning. It has to mean something. And I just can't be on a stage because, when you get access to a platform, you want to use it for its good. You want to be able to share the vision and the mission.
Yeah.
And I wanted to share it in a way where it was different and unique, but it was fitting for me. So at the time, I used it for acronyms because we love acronyms.
Yeah.
Stay ready to be ready, lead out loud, a sense of community or sense of family, and you are built to last. So it just went into, the way that people received me. And then, when they started to say it all the time, I said, you know what? We're on to something. And that's when I started Slay to Success, like my business is speaking and writing. And I'm also an image consultant. So, it's funny in service, those things that we really appreciated. I don't know about you, but I probably would suspect that AFI 36-2903 or AFI 35-10, I think it was -10 before they changed it,
Yeah.
was the bread and butter for how we, you know, looked, right? The
Right.
image of a
Right.
military member.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? I really love, because it got me into doors because I knew how to wear my uniform properly.
Right.
And I knew how to communicate. I knew how to hold myself up and be very confident, even though I didn't know what I was doing half the time. They throw us things.
Yeah.
And I just said, I want to explore that.
Mhm.
I want to explore that. So that's when I got my certification as an image consultant. And also, I got my master's degree in strategic leadership. So I paired those two. And now working with women leaders mostly, and helping them to see how they can gain experience, visibility, and turn their accomplishments into influence has been absolutely transformational for me
Yeah. Yeah.
because it was there.
Yeah.
I just needed to find the one thing that I could kind of attach myself to
Right.
and to really be able to share it in a way where those that don't have any a military affiliation can connect to.
Right. Yeah. Now,
Mhm.
have you written a book?
I have.
Of-
I've actually written five.
okay. Well, good. I'll have to get
Yeah.
on there and read them. Uh, uh,
Yeah.
and before I forget, Chief, let's give honor to the person who we need to honor, and that's Airman Brooks. You said Airman Brooks, I
Yes.
think.
Airman
Well,
Brooks.
well,
Kenyon
say his
Brooks.
name. Say his name.
Kenyon Brooks.
God bless him. And
Yeah.
yeah, there are some people that affect us in many ways. So this young
Many
man
ways.
helped you to become who you are, and that's a big thing, so
Yeah.
very good, very good. Uh, I don't want to be disrespectful. Okay, so if I go there, shut me up, and I think you
Oh
will, because
no.
you were a first sergeant. I did that too. I know. In fact, my first sergeant hat is right over there. I can put it on. But anyway, while you were well, and even now, is there used to be when I was coming up, we didn't have many women, particularly Black African American women in the force to begin with, much less as chiefs. The other day I was talking to one of she's from Colombia, and we got to talk. She was on the show, and we got to talking, and I got to thinking, I don't even remember any female chiefs till maybe, gosh, the last 10 years or so of my 31 active duty years. And and I'm glad we have more. And I got daughters and granddaughters and one
Mhm.
grandson. But so I'm
Yeah.
all for women being all they can
Absolutely.
be and doing because there's nothing that can stop them. Well,
Yeah.
I am amazed, Chief, at what I can accomplish once my wife decides that I'm going to do it. It's amazing what I can do. It's just amazing.
Say
But
your wife.
so so anyway,
God bless her too.
hey, bless me. I'm the one that's got to
Yeah.
do it. So,
No.
but anyway, uh, how was it coming up
Oh,
as a female, as a woman of color, and making chief, being a chief, and the transition? Is there and I know in my heart, I would say, I don't care. That's slay. Is that a man or a woman? It don't matter. Just listen, pay attention. It doesn't matter. But there are people who are really no getting still bigots. It's amazing. I talk to people, and I try to shut them down pretty quickly. Men, they're always men. Well, not really, not really. There's some women that say women don't belong in the Air Force or in the military. Well, shut up. um, and especially if they're of color, shut up,
yeah.
shut up. That's stupid.
Yeah.
That's a really dumb thinking. But there are some people who think that way. So did you see that in your
Oh, yeah,
career?
I did.
Did
And I'm
you?
so glad that you brought it up because this is one of the things that, I just didn't understand until I started to mature in the military. So in the medical community, you have all backgrounds, all races, all backgrounds, right? And I was very naive because I was just brought up in the community. And sometimes people would say like things like, well, the medics aren't part of the military. Like they're off in their own world and they have their own way of doing things. And it wasn't until I became a first sergeant that I started to see the disparities and I started to see, you know, who was getting promoted and why were Black women being stopped at a certain point in their career? It was just I guess for me, I was so upset in a way, like, why didn't I see this? What, where's this coming from? So, you have access to information as a first sergeant that no others do, right? And so you have that privilege of sitting in the commander's office with the chief and kind of talking through some of the scenarios and how they weren't really getting to the opportunities or the special opportunities. And so kind of just kind of like, but it was also the first time that I saw a Black female chief. And I had been serving for 18 years at that point. 18 years. So you're not seeing someone who looks like you to give you a possibility that that could actually happen. And I was just like, man, this is crazy to me. Like,
Yeah.
so then after that, I went to Inspector General's team. And at the time, there was a Black female chief who was actually the command chief at Langley Air Force Base. And I was at her feet. I mean, literally just going in, talking to her, you know, trying to understand what I might face as I continued on. And she was telling me, they're going to look at you as if you're not qualified, that you have had a different path and a different way, or it was going to be, like affirmative action, or, something to that effect. But you have to understand that you've earned it, you worked hard for it, and your record should speak for itself once you get to that point. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I started to see it when I was on the cusp of getting promoted to chief. I really started to see it. People were putting up barriers or roadblocks or having me having to work harder, having to just to really like I don't even know. It's like microaggressions of, we're not going to listen to you. This is we're going to do it differently. And then finding out they were going back to whatever I shared in the first place. They were going with that. And I was like, why is this happening? So it happens and it will continue to happen, I think. Um, because that's just I don't know. It's just sometimes you just have to accept that those types of challenges are going to happen. I got to Ellsworth Air Force Base, which was predominantly white males and it's a bomber base, right? So they're all in that community. I'm a medic. I don't have any idea as, bombers, what that meant. I had to learn. And I remember another chief coming over to my house and they were asking me questions like, how'd you get this job? Um, I applied for the job too and I didn't get it.
Mm.
And I had to learn how to navigate through conversations like that
Yeah.
or to comments like that. So my response to them was, I am not the hiring authority.
Yeah.
If you want to ask these types of questions, you can go to the general and ask the general
Right.
but it had to like use my voice and to advocate for myself and not get into like the pity party of, oh my goodness, it's
Right.
happening again. I
Right.
don't know what I'm doing, right? But I wasn't looking for it, but when it came I had to address it.
Right.
And I had to really just be very I guess it's just being firm about my positioning. But yeah, it was very challenging and sometimes when people don't tell you these things, I don't think they're doing it on purpose. They just don't want to see it happening for you, and they don't believe that it will happen to you until
Right.
it does. And they're like,
Yeah.
okay, here we are.
Yeah, and you are inspiring me, Chief, to get on that book that like I said, I've been working on about identity. I've
Yeah,
never had an issue with who I am, so it's very
yeah,
difficult for me to understand when people say they have issues with who they are or
yeah,
they don't know who they are. But
yeah,
it's in high school, I heard I'm a musician and I did band
I am
for,
too.
what do you do? What do you play?
Well, I don't perform now or anything,
Okay.
but I was in high school band all my years, and I
Mhm.
played the saxophone, the
Oh,
clarinet, the bass clarinet. I
yeah.
was a drum major for my last
Oh,
year.
cool, cool.
So yeah.
Yeah, mirror images. But but anyway, I heard, and so you understand how important your, especially high school band director is,
Yes.
and mine had a huge. He was, well, he had a huge effect on my success, and especially I heard him. I wasn't eavesdropping. I just happened to walk in when he was telling someone, Mexicans are just naturally lazy.
Mm,
And I don't I mean I don't know the context. I never talked to him about it. I just heard those words come out of his mouth, and he may have been quoting someone, I don't know. But I took that as a challenge, and
hmm.
especially in the military, because I served 50 years altogether. But
Yeah.
there were, equal opportunity programs and all that kind of stuff. When I went to those, they always told me that, hey, you should be wary because you're a victim. I said, really? Okay. Thanks for telling me because I never knew that. I'm me, man. I'm Bob Vasquez. Hold my, and I don't drink anymore because I get in trouble. But anyway, I my thing was, here, hold my beer and watch this. I am not. I worked my butt off, and
Yeah.
that, and my uncles, my dad taught me the work ethic. That's just who I
Yeah.
was, and I never worried about people looking at me because now the bad thing, Chief, and I know you've been this. We just met, and you've been thinking this the whole time. Man, this man is just ruggedly handsome. I once I got the plaque, Chief. It's right behind me. I got the plaque.
I'm sure
So
you do.
yeah, once I got that plaque, man, nothing stopped me.
Right.
So
Exactly. You looked
yeah,
at that plaque every day and was like,
yeah,
yep,
yeah. So
that's me.
so sincerely, it's hard for me to understand that because I've never been through it, but a lot of
Yeah.
people are. And my
Yeah.
advice is always just be you. Just be
Yeah.
you. Don't be trying to be
Absolutely.
somebody. It's like I have a lot of proteges who say, "I want to be you, Chief." No, you don't. No, you don't. You want to be better than me. You want to learn
Yes.
from me whatever I can teach you, but go be
Yes.
you because that you are you already. You don't know yet,
Yeah.
but you are.
Yeah.
So I think, in particular, Chief Bonnie Binzer was one of my good friends way 100 years ago, and she became a senior enlisted advisor, which was
Hmm.
very few women at the time, and this would have been in the early '90s. But her speech to people, especially women, was figure out how the guys are doing it, and then do
Yeah.
that.
Then
Don't
do
don't
that.
don't be worried that you're a woman. Just figure out what are they doing. Go do that, and you will be right there with them because there's nothing keeping you. There's nothing different from about you that you can't overcome. So
Yeah.
you can't. I mean, you are a perfect person. You overcame
Yeah.
all of that crap. You were a
All of
medic,
it.
really? Are you guys like in the Air Force anymore? You know
Exactly.
what I'm talking about. So
Yeah, we are. But you know what? I really think that all of those types of experience have really shaped and influenced the way that I operate now.
yes,
You
yes,
know, it's just like when I go into a new environment, to either go speak or do a networking, I'm always thinking about, what I did in the military that can help me to, ensure that I get the story right. Like, so people will find out who I am before they start to judge, based on, what maybe I look like, which is sometimes a factor, but I always want to try to exclude that from the
yes,
conversation. I'm like, I'm just a human being just like you are. I enjoy life. I
yeah.
want to serve, So
With the
when I do,
exception that you will work harder
oh
than me.
yeah,
I, I
oh
I'm all,
yeah,
I'm almost
oh
exactly like
yeah,
you, but I will outwork you.
I will outwork you
Yes.
because you know what we had, and it's not like I think too. At first, I was like, I have to do like I'm doing this and that, but then now I look and I was like, that was in my DNA. Like I was designed, built to do hard things and
Mhm.
to be able to get and reap the reward
Yeah.
of hard work. And I love that feeling. I love to be challenged. I don't like just to be doing something just to be doing something,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
I just feel like having that intentional purpose behind it, it really gets me going. It's just
Yeah.
like, okay, you accomplished that. Great.
Yeah.
Celebrate a little bit on that. Now let's move forward to whatever else comes your way,
Yeah.
right? So I think that's the beauty of it. We have so many skills that we can use and
Yeah.
apply.
Yeah.
And why have them go to waste?
Right.
I don't see that.
Yeah.
I don't see how that's possible.
Yeah, keep using them. Keep using them. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I know you don't realize it, but I'm a little bit older than you. Keep honing those skills, because if you don't hone them, you'll lose them. You
You
know,
will.
you'll
You
forget,
will.
or wow, did I used to do that? Although now, also keep in mind that there's a point in our lives where we can't do what we used to do the way we used to do it. Okay. So
Absolutely.
when that starts to happen, just be careful. That's when you become a mentor, because
Yeah.
I don't do it no more. Come here, son. Come here, daughter.
Yeah. So, I still work out hard.
Yeah.
I think that was the benefit of being in service is, really understanding how to condition your body and how it's connected to the mind. And, I was always looking forward to the fitness test because I'm like, I'm gonna lay somebody out here, okay?
Yeah.
Because I want the 20-year-old to run and I want them to literally chase me down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I would do exceptionally well. So now I'm in my 50s and the mind still wants to
Yeah.
be there. It's like, okay, let's do sprints today. Well, sprinting today looks so much different than sprinting when I was in service,
Yeah.
right? I think I'm going fast and I'm like really pumping my arms, but really I'm taking it easier than
Yeah.
I was before, right?
Yeah.
And I had to learn that. Like you have to adjust to how the age kind of catches up and being able to do that consistently, but doing some adjustments,
Right.
being very mindful because I don't want to hurt myself and injure myself, because that will then prevent me from doing what I
Yeah.
want to do. So yeah, it's funny how we were conditioned to
Yeah.
do some things, and
Yeah.
now it's like, oh wait, you're not there anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I hate to tell you this, Chief, but it gets worse.
Oh
So,
gosh.
so,
Yeah,
well,
I don't want to hear this. I'm
yeah.
already doing like 20-minute stretches before I do anything.
Yeah.
So
Well, thank you so much, Chief Retired Rochelle Hemingway, Slay, for being on the show. Gosh, a great conversation. We'll need to do this some more so that we can, if nothing else, we had fun. I don't care about the listeners. We had fun. But
we had fun.
so thank you so much. You take care of yourself and keep
You're
slaying, okay?
welcome.
Don't
I
stop.
will, and
And
you too.
if anybody messes with you, my mantra is there are two people in this world you don't want to mess with.
Yeah,
I'm both of them.
you're both of them.
Yes. God bless you, my
Listen, you
sister.
heard it from him. Like, and if
Yes.
I tag you anywhere, be like, listen, don't play games with me.
Yeah.
I got Bob out here. He's
Yeah.
he's out here and he's gonna check you. So
Yes. Yes. Right. That's right. God bless you. You take care.
you too. God bless you too. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. We hope that you've gained something from this episode that will empower you to become a more effective leader. If you'd like to connect with us, please do so via our website at leadershipandforesight.org. The book So You Want to Be the Chief is available on Amazon.com and on Apple Books. This podcast is powered by the Institute for Leadership and Strategic Foresight.